Hello, and welcome to Good Game Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Bajo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N.
Darren, what is that?
It's my pokeball, Bajo.
Really?
Darren, I don't think this is an actual pokeball.
Oh, whatever do you mean?
Yes, well, good luck catching some Pokemon with that, Darren. Speaking of Pokemon, we're Pokemad this week because we're going to have a look at Pokemon Black and White 2, right?
You'll never guess what happened to my Growlithe.
It evolved?
No, adventures. Also on the show, we'll check out Worm's Revolution.
Time to demote this boss worm to trainee worm ghost.
Did you know that the earthworm has been in existence for over 120 million years? Whoa. Most are small, but some are as long as 3 meters.
Yes, all right. Well, while you chat about non-anthropod invertebrates, I'm going to go read the news. I want to be the very best.
Hey Darren, how much did that Pokeball cost you?
3 bolts, a tension sensor, and an excavator bucket pin.
It's pretty expensive.
Oh, he wanted another 3 wing nuts on top of that, but I talked him down.
You just dropped it.
Negative.
Hex here from the Spawn Point news desk. The United States Navy has developed a robot inspired by popular Star Wars character C-3PO. Known as the autonomous shipboard humanoid, it'll be used largely as a firefighter with the ability to throw extinguishing grenades and work in hazardous smoke-filled environments. It can also climb ladders and react to human gestures and will begin testing on Navy ships next year. Sony has submitted a design patent for a controller that can warm up or cool down as you play. The patent shows a modified move controller with strips around the middle that could respond to elements in a game, such as heating up when you fire a weapon or, if used with a biometric sensor, can cool down your sweaty hands. It is just a design at this stage, and Sony has made no official announcement on whether it will be made. And in other news, 2 people have built this. Yes, it's a fully functional pinball machine made entirely from construction toy connects. Amazing.
Darren, you're on it.
Oh, that tickles. Okay, I got it. Can you see it? Have you?
Yes, I've got it. Ugh, it's covered in
That
something.
was awkward.
What's on here?
Darren's being just annoying. Right, well, I feel like there is a new Worms game almost every single week, guys.
Oh, well, that's highly inaccurate, Bajo, but there have been many Worms games, going right back to the original Worms in 1995. And if you include spin-offs such as Worms Golf or Worms Blast, then there have been over 20 Worms games so far.
That's a lot of worms. If by some chance you've never played one, the basic aim of the game is to use your worms to take out the other team's worms. You take it in turns to fire off a bunch of crazy weaponry, including the classic bazooka, hand grenades, dynamite, and of course the exploding sheep. But there's also flamethrowers and molotovs, which lay down fire on the ground and add extra layers of strategy.
This latest game has a few new ideas, but it's already one up on the last one we reviewed because it's in 2D, and Worms is always better in 2D.
Well, that's also inaccurate, Bajo. This is in fact 2.5D. You'll notice lots of depth in the background, giving the game a more full 3-dimensional feel, but still being on a 2D plane for all the actual action. Hex, I don't think Bajo's paying attention today.
Well, Darren, it is a bit difficult with this Pokeball that keeps coming back.
Yeah, who keeps throwing that?
Gotta catch them all.
Well, one new addition is the class system, right?
Correct.
Yeah, well, now you can customize your worms beyond their names by picking a class. There's a scientist class, which gives your worms health, a heavier soldier class, which moves very slowly but can take a lot of damage, and a scout class that is weak but moves very fast. I found the scout class to be the most useful though, because he just moves so fast, and if there's one thing that you need to do in Worms is beat that clock and get to your enemy quickly and try and take them out.
There's also accessories to unlock and voice customization. It's actually quite a cool selection of voices, from cyborg to movie trailer guy,
It was the first strike of many.
Australian to our personal favourite, internet memes.
Hello? What? Soon? It's why we can't have the nice things.
I liked the tutorial too. It was well constructed to introduce you to all the mechanics of the game. And this prepares you for online play against other people, which is where the real game begins. We struggled to get an online game, but you can always play with the person right next to you, of course.
And that tutorial is really good, isn't it? And I highly recommend doing it because when you jump online, you have access to everything and it's quite daunting trying to work out which weapon to use.
Along with the tutorial and single-player campaign, there's also a puzzle mode with pre-made scenarios that force you to think about how to use your weapons and abilities in different situations. And I really liked these, Bajo. It forces you to think outside the box a little bit.
This Worms is also built on a whole new game engine, which means that it's pretty much built from scratch rather than an older game tweaked to look and feel new. This has allowed the game makers to focus more on the physics, which means everything feels a bit more realistic and dynamic. For example, one of the new weapons is a water pistol, and the water behaves like you would expect it to. This means that if you see a pool of water above an enemy, or if you see an enemy in a hole, you can make life very difficult for them.
Come on, then. We're rained off.
Well, guys, I'd say this is probably the best Worms we've played yet.
Yeah, it's certainly the most modern and polished, isn't it? And I did like that it's narrated by one of my favourite comedic actors, Matt Berry.
But this isn't just about fighting. It's about observing nature, collecting wildlife data, cross-referencing. Actually, it's about fighting. Get stuck in.
But you know what, guys? I didn't have that great a time here, and it is a good game, but I've just played so many Worms games now that I feel like there's not much left for me to discover in the strategy of it.
Yeah, I mean, it is more of the same, but I think they've tried hard to modernise it without going crazy off the rails. And if you've never played a Worms game before, then I think you're really going to love this. I'm giving it 8 out of 10.
I'm going to give it 7 out of 10. Right, we should go off to Ask Good Game.
I don't know what Bajo was talking about. This is an authentic pokeball. Very idea.
You dropped it again!
Could you,
I'll get it.
I think it's under...
Where is it?
Have you...
Where is it?
If you just...
Where is it?
It's round...
No, maybe on
Where
the...
is it?
No, I
can't
feel
see it.
something there. Is it...
Dan, there's a bunch of sandwiches down here.
Keep looking, Bajo.
You've been hiding sandwiches from me?
Negative?
All right, Badge, let's get into some questions.
Hold on to your
So
horses, Hex. I've got some Papyrus questions for you this week on Papyrus substances, the likes of which I have not seen the likes of which for a long time.
Papyrus. All right, well, let's have a look-see.
Papyrus.
Well, this one looks pretty good. Let's start with that. It's from Will, who is from Brighton in South Australia. Dear Hex and Bajo, I would like to know if the Skylanders Giants figures will work on the old Skylanders Spyro's Adventure game. Would you please do a review for Star Wars The Clone Wars Adventures? P.S. D.A.R.R.E.N is a total noob! P.P.S. I know Bajo likes to sound out faces, so here are some. Now you're just sounding like a monkey. P.P.P.S. D.A.R.R.E.N is the worst singer ever. P.P.P.P.S. Hex totally rocks! From your biggest fan, Will. 11 years.
That was a lot of peas.
And look, Bajo, he sent us in some presents. Yeah.
I love presents.
He's made us a little papercraft. Where did he go? Oh, here he is. Little papercraft creeper. So hopefully he won't explode or anything like that. And check these out. These are necklaces. So this one's got my name on it. See? It says Hex. And
Mine's wrong.
and
Mine
this one
says Ojab.
No, you've got it backwards. It says Bajo.
Looks like Ojab to me. I think I know what Ojab looks
And
like. What
he
Bajo
made
looks
one
like.
for D.A.R.R.E.N. and it says Newbie D.A.R.R.E.N. He's gonna love that.
Yeah, because it's accurate. Are you sure he will love it though? Because last time I called him a news, he lasered the sandwich right from the clutches of my hands.
Bajo, I was being sarcastic. He's not really gonna.
Singed my fingers.
Okay, well, Will, thanks so much for your awesome presents. But as for your questions, well, sorry to say, but no, the new Skylanders Giants figures won't work in the old game.
But the old figures do work on the new game, and you can also still use your old Portal of Power too. But yes, you can't use the new Giants in the old game. That looks lovely, Hex.
Thank you. As for reviewing Star Wars The Clone Wars Adventures, well, as usual, we don't have time to do a full review for it here, but we can take a quick look at it for you. Basically, it's a free-to-play browser MMO. You can create your own avatar and play in a whole heap of little mini-games like lightsaber duels, speeder bike racing, and card games, to name a few.
Yes, but you do have to pay a subscription fee if you want to access most of the games. Overall, we'd say it's an okay distraction. There's no harm in checking out the free stuff, but we wouldn't highly recommend committing to it.
All right, well, let's move on. And looks like we've got this one here from... Oh, well, it's a bunch of letters from a whole family. So we'll start with this one from Gerard, who is in Baddo Bay, New South Wales.
Hey GGSP, I'm having a little trouble with a through games, so I was wondering if you could help me. 1. Where can I get the Simpsons arcade game for the Xbox 360? 2. Who is Mr. L in Super Paper Mario? 3. Barjo. Where is your statue in Minecraft? Please help me? I hope you will. From Gerard.
Well, Gerard, that's easy enough. You can find the Simpsons arcade game in the Games Marketplace on Xbox Live. Just look under S for Simpsons.
And as for who Mr. L is, well, he's none other than Mario's brother Luigi, after he gets brainwashed. And my statue in Minecraft is actually at the base of D.A.R.R.E.N's statue, although you will have to re-download the latest save file from our website.
Right, well, let's move on to this one, which is from your brother, Kovu. Hey GGSP, I was wondering if you could answer my questions. 1. Does D.A.R.R.E.N still use his containment chamber? 2. What happened to E.T. the extraterrestrials? 3. What is the name of the thing King DDD uses to revive Luigi and Ness in the subspace emissary? From Kovu.
Well, Kovu, D.A.R.R.E.N still does use his D.A.R.R.E.N-proof laser containment chamber from time to time. And, Hex, you know what? I thought just once we'd get through a whole Squid Game without D.A.R.R.E.N calling.
Really think
I did
that,
think
did
that.
You? He always calls.
It's nice to have dreams. It's nice to have dreams and hopes and live them. Barjo speaking.
Oh, hello, Barjo.
Hi, D.A.R.R.E.N, do you remember that time when we went into your containment chamber and you lasered everywhere? Do you still use the containment chamber for anything?
Affirmative. I'm in there right now.
What are you doing in there?
Oh, I just finished a workout, but I wanted to tell you about E.T. the extraterrestrial.
Oh, okay. Well, you know, we know all about E.T. You know, it's a movie about an alien. He phones home, he rides a bike, then he goes home.
I was referring to the video game.
Ah.
It was released in 1982 for the Atari 2600 after only 5 weeks of development time. It was expected to sell in huge amounts due to the popularity of the film. However, the game was widely criticised for being absolutely terrible.
It was terrible, wasn't it? In fact, it still managed to sell a whopping
It still managed to sell a whopping 1.5 million copies,
I was
however.
just about to say that.
However, Atari had produced almost 5 million cartridges of the game, leaving millions of unsold copies. These were promptly destroyed and turned into landfill and buried in the New Mexico desert. It caused Atari to suffer huge financial losses of over $100 million and was a major contributor to the video game market crash of 1983.
Okay, well, thanks, Darren. I think we can take it from here.
As for the thing King DDD uses to revive Luigi and Ness, they don't have a specific name and are simply special revival pendants.
Well, I hope that helped you,
Answer the
Kovu,
questions?
somewhere in there. Next up, we've got this one from, we've got this one from Campbell. I think this one's from Campbell. Yeah, okay. Dear Good Game SP, I want to know if there's going to be a PlayStation 4. Thanks from Campbell. P.S. It was very nice to meet you at the expo.
Well, it was great to meet you too, and all the other spawnlings as well. We were just blown away by how many of you came and lined up just to meet us and made us feel very loved.
But as for the PlayStation 4, nothing official has been announced about it, but we'd be very surprised if there wasn't going to be one. In fact, we're all expecting to see it announced and revealed at next year's E3.
Indeed. In fact, I'd stake my very small reputation on it, Hex. It is a guess, though. There is a chance that it won't be, but I think there's more than a likely chance that it actually will be announced. So yes, 2013 will be a very exciting year for gaming.
How sure are you if you're staking your very small reputation on it?
3% sure.
3% is not very sure.
It's just I like to play the risks.
Okay.
I like to play the odds.
All right, well, I think we've got time for just one more, and this one is from Gideon in the Good Game Studio, New South Wales. What?
Dear Barjo and Hex, I think you should let me review a game. You're both too old to understand games from a spawnling's perspective, and I think I could do a better job than you. Regards, Gideon.
Well, Gideon.
Reputation.
We might not be quite as young as some of you spawnlings, but all those years have been spent playing games, giving us a lot of experience and expertise that's required for this kind of thorough criticism that we provide on this show.
Yes, in fact, I have the equatorial bulge to prove it, Hex. Oh, that's fine.
Hello?
Hello, I have Gideon here in the studio and he's ready to do his review, so why don't you two just get a sandwich or something and Gideon and I will take care of things.
Wait a minute, this is our show?
Now, before we begin, I must scan Gideon for noobishness. Scanning. Scan complete. You're an elite gamer, and you may begin.
Thank you. Super Smash Bros. Brawl was released in 2008. In the previous Super Smash Bros. Games, you just had to battle all the characters in different stages with the ultimate goal of beating the final boss. In this game, the developers added a story which, in my view, doesn't really work. Basically, Taboo, the master of the subspace, wants to take over the world. So he goes around blowing up things and plunging each area into darkness and turning those who don't approve into solid trophies. Although there are some interesting parts to the story, I don't think it really adds anything to the game.
Affirmative.
But I do like the many power-ups and abilities that your characters can use throughout the game. There's also a variety of different modes. As well as story, there's Brawl, where you can take on a real or AI opponent, and a Wi-Fi mode where you can go up against players from around the world. I didn't really like this mode, though, because you can't talk to the other players while you're playing, so it seems like they aren't really there.
Oh, affirmative. What's the point of online multiplayer if you can't troll?
Indeed. But let's talk about some of the characters. There's the usual ones like Mario, Peach, and Kirby, but there are some new ones from other games as well, like Sonic the Hedgehog and Snake from Metal Gear Solid.
My favourite character is Rob the robot.
Mine is Meta Knight, another character from the Kirby series.
So, how many rubber chickens will you give Super Smash Bros. Brawl?
It's a really fun game just to pick up and play, but if you want to get really good at it, you got to put some time into it. I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Very good job. I will now award you the ultimate prize, a D.A.R.R.E.N badge. There you go. Would you like a ride home, Gideon?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Just hop on.
Okay.
Charging my rocket boots. Back to you, Bajo and Hex. Off we go.
Actually, Hex, that's a pretty good review. pretty good review.
Yeah, I think it's actually a pretty good review.
Interesting analysis.
But it has used up the last of our time, so if you have a question about games that's bothering you, then bother us with it here.
Good review.
Not Gideon or Darren, and just bother us with it.
Analysis. All right, Darren, new rule. You're not allowed to have any guests in the studio to review games if they review them better than us. How does that sound?
No promises.
All right, well now it's time to return to the Unova region and catch them all again in Pokemon Black and White 2.
Now, it's not really revolutionary for the series. You still set out on your quest to defeat 8 gym leaders, stop the bad guys, and become the Pokemon champion by conquering the Elite Four. But Black and White 2 is actually quite different from what we've come to expect from same generation sequels.
Affirmative. Previous games like Pokemon Emerald and Platinum were more enhanced remakes, being essentially the same game with added features and minor tweaks. Black and White 2, however, takes place 2 years after the original games, with a new story and new areas to explore, which I quite enjoyed.
Me too. The beginning part of the game takes place in 3 new towns to the west of Castelia City, and your whole journey takes you on a different path to the first game, even if you do face some of the same gym leaders. And for the first time, your starting area has a Pokemon Center and a gym.
It was interesting to see how the environment has changed over 2 years. For instance, Cheren, who was one of your rivals from the first game, is now the first gym leader in Aspergia City. And Bianca, the other rival, is now Professor Juniper's assistant. And a lot of the people you meet along the way will refer to how things have changed over the last 2 years.
Yeah, sometimes it does feel like it's doing a bit of an obvious wink wink nudge nudge to the first game, but I also love how the city has changed as well. Driftvale City is now a tourist resort area with all the houses replaced with hotels, and Nimbasa's roller coaster gym has become a permanent roller coaster ride, and a new gym has been built.
Speaking of gyms, they've always been themed in previous Pokemon games, but now I feel more than ever it's more infused with the style and personality of the leader. For example, Elisa's gym takes place on a runway, and Berg's is filled with silk tracks that transport you around.
Other new features include a habitat list, which lists all the Pokemon you've encountered in each location. It also lets you know when you've encountered every creature that can be found there, making it much easier to catch them all.
There's now a medal system as well. This is the Pokemon version of achievements or trophies, and it adds another obsessive element to the game. I love the medal I got for checking bins I knew were empty.
Yeah, Pokemon games have conditioned us to check bins for items now, haven't they? There's also the Pokestar Studios, where you can make little movies from actual Pokemon battles. Doesn't make any sense, but And there are FunFest missions that mainly involve finding items or certain Pokemon within a specific time limit. And friends can join in as well, but you don't see them on your screen, they just help you reach your target goal. I didn't enjoy these though.
Affirmative. I enjoyed the memory link feature though, which allows you to view flashbacks and even play out a couple of extra battles. But it's only for those who have proven themselves to be new bite free and have finished the original Black or White.
But the story, you guys, it's just not that good. I mean, I know the story isn't usually a strong point of Pokemon games, but this one's particularly weak. There is a fair bit of mystery behind Team Plasma's return and your rival's hatred towards them, but you spend so much time doing stuff outside of the story that you just sort of forget about it until someone pops up and asks you to help them battle or something.
It does get a little bit more interesting towards the end, but yeah, it's still a bit dull. But you know what, guys? Even though this battle system is as deep as all the other Pokemon games, I think I'm starting to get a little bored with it. Just relax, I'm just being honest. I struggled getting past the 4th gym, and I just find it a little bit boring and grindy now.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean, Bajo, but I think there's still enough that's new and different here to keep me hooked the whole way. The new areas now have Pokemon from previous generations, so when I ran into a Growlithe and a Magnemite near the beginning of the game, I jumped a little in my seat. And even after all these years, I still get that little moment of glee every time one of my Pokemon levels up.
But I just wish it had something extra, maybe a new way to train your Pokemon other than battles, just something to freshen it up a bit.
There is a new key system which allows you to change the difficulty of the game, a Pokemon first, but you only unlock them after finishing the game or by getting sent one from a friend.
That's right, Darren. And this is all on top of all the features in the first game, like the battle subway and chatting with your friends through the X-Transceiver. I mean, this is a lot of content for any game, let alone a handheld, and there is a massive online community.
Yeah, and the multiplayer features are as strong as ever, although I do still find that Sea-Gear thing a bit confusing. If you're new to the series, this is a good place to start. If you're a rabid Pokemon fan, then of course you're going to enjoy it. But if you started to get a bit tired from the last few games, you might not get what you expect out of this one. So, I'm going to give it 7 out of 10 Robotiffins.
Well, there's definitely enough new content here to keep me hooked. It's a great game. I'm giving it 8.5.
Bajo, Hex, we didn't use my pokeball in the review.
Oh, well, you know, Darren, we probably shouldn't waste it now anyway. Save it for a special occasion or something.
Yeah, plus, Darren, I think you've been sold a lemon. It's a bit rough around the edges.
Next week on the show, we review a game that's very similar to Minecraft, only this time everything's made of triangles, and it's called Patterns.
You know this is an authentic Master Ball, which accounts for its unusual appearance.
Yes, all right, Darren, we believe you. Till next time, gamers, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Pokeball, go!
No, Darren! I don't want to go inside there, no!
Darren